If you are walking with God and you believe in his providential hand, then you have to also believe that your life is in his hands.
Pastor Tony Evans is a name synonymous with faith, leadership, and moral guidance. For decades, Tony has led Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship in Dallas, Texas, nurturing a community of believers and guiding them with a steady hand rooted in the teachings of Scripture. His work extends beyond the church, touching thousands of lives around the world through his books, radio broadcasts, and conferences. Known for his powerful and dynamic preaching, Tony Evans has built a lasting legacy in the Christian community, encouraging believers to live in accordance with God's will. His deep understanding of biblical principles has made him a trusted voice on topics ranging from family dynamics to social issues, all framed within the context of a Christian worldview. Tony Evans's journey to prominence wasn't marked by an overnight rise to fame. He started humbly, dedicating his life to serving God and his community, steadily growing Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship into one of the largest and most influential churches in the United States. The impact of his ministry transcends the physical walls of the church, touching lives through the many resources he has produced, including books like The Kingdom Agenda and his radio ministry, which broadcasts his teachings to listeners around the world. His life's work has been one of unwavering faith and dedication to serving others in the name of Christ. Lois Evans, a life partner in faith. Behind every great leader is often a supportive and equally remarkable partner. In Tony Evans' case, that partner was his late wife, Lois Evans. Lois was not just a spouse to Tony, but a collaborator in ministry, a vital part of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship's success. Her strength, grace, and dedication to God were evident to all who knew her. Lois was revered by the congregation for her compassion and tireless work behind the scenes, whether in supporting church activities, mentoring young women, or leading various ministry initiatives. Lois's presence was a constant source of encouragement for Tony, and together they built a ministry that touched the lives of countless individuals. Lois had a particular passion for helping others grow in their faith, and her nurturing spirit was one of the cornerstones of the church's community. Her leadership within the church was marked by humility and a deep love for others, and she often worked quietly, behind the scenes, to ensure the spiritual health of the congregation. In 2019, Lois was diagnosed with cancer, a diagnosis that brought an unimaginable amount of pain and grief to Tony and their family. Lois fought courageously, but after a long battle, she passed away, leaving a massive hole in the hearts of those who knew her. For Tony, her passing was not just the loss of a wife, but the loss of a spiritual partner, confidant, and co-laborer in the faith. The grief he experienced was profound, and it sent shockwaves through the congregation, who mourned the loss of a beloved matriarch. The transition. After Lois's death. After Lois's death, Tony Evans entered a period of profound mourning. He took time away from his pastoral duties to grieve, but eventually, he began to consider the next steps in his life. This time of reflection led him to the decision to remarry, a move that would raise eyebrows in both his personal life and within his church community. The question that lingered in the minds of many was whether Tony was moving on too soon, or if this new relationship represented a fresh chapter in his life after losing Lois. In 2021, Tony remarried Carla Crummy, a woman who was known for her role in education and her commitment to spreading kindness. Carla's reputation as a loving, compassionate woman who had a passion for nurturing children's growth and education made her a respected figure in her own right. However, her entry into Tony's life and their subsequent marriage would soon become the subject of much public interest and speculation. While some people were supportive of Tony's decision to remarry, others questioned the timing of his new relationship, especially given the close and long-standing bond Tony had shared with Lois. Was Tony truly ready to move on, or was this an act of filling the void left by his late wife? The church community, which had revered Lois, now found itself grappling with this new reality. Carla Crummy, a new beginning. Carla Crummy's life was in many ways different from Lois Evans' life, but it would be unfair to reduce her influence to simply being Tony Evans' new wife. Carla had already established herself as an influential figure in her own right before meeting Tony. She had worked as an educator, dedicating her life to helping children learn and grow, and had served as a kindness ambassador, promoting empathy and respect in communities. She had a deep passion for social justice, particularly around issues affecting children and families. Her work in education earned her respect from many who had seen firsthand the positive impact she had on the lives of children and families. When Carla married Tony Evans, her visibility in the public eye increased, and many began to look to her as a source of support for Tony, especially given the monumental shift in his personal life. Despite the public admiration for her accomplishments, there were many in Tony's congregation who viewed her presence with skepticism, questioning whether Tony was truly ready for such a major change after Lois's death. In the months following their marriage, Carla's role in Tony's life and ministry became more apparent. She supported him emotionally, helping him through the painful memories of his first marriage and the loss of Lois. She also became involved in ministry initiatives alongside Tony, contributing her expertise in education and her deep commitment to kindness and empathy. Her presence brought a sense of stability to Tony's life, but not everyone was convinced that this new union would be seamless. The community's reaction and speculation. As with any major public change, the remarriage of a beloved pastor was bound to generate strong reactions. Within the Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship community, reactions were mixed. Many were pleased to see Tony moving forward with his life, believing that God had brought Carla into his life as a companion for this next season of ministry. Others, however, struggled with the transition. Some were concerned that Tony's remarriage was too soon, while others speculated that their relationship may have begun before Lois's death, adding a layer of controversy to the situation. Rumors swirled, and as gossip often does, it began to reach a fever pitch. Some members of the congregation questioned whether Pastor Tony Evans, a lifelong commitment to faith. Pastor Tony Evans is a well-respected figure in the Christian community, known for his unwavering commitment to the Word of God. His teachings, characterized by clarity, wisdom, and moral fortitude, have impacted millions of people worldwide. His leadership at Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, a large and influential church in Dallas, Texas, has been instrumental in shaping the spiritual lives of many. His journey as a pastor, author, and speaker is marked by a dedication to not only preaching the gospel, but also living it out in his personal life. Pastor Evans has authored numerous books and is a beloved radio personality, offering spiritual guidance to those who may not have access to his church. His legacy is one of transformation, both in the lives of individuals and in the broader Christian community. A pillar of strength. Pastor Tony Evans and his first wife, Lois. Behind every great man is a supportive partner, and for Pastor Tony Evans, that partner was his late wife, Lois Evans. Lois was not just Tony's spouse, but a co-laborer in ministry. Together, they built Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, cultivating a warm and welcoming community for people seeking to grow in their faith. Lois was known for her deep compassion, kindness, and the tireless work she put into serving others, particularly those within the church. Lois's contributions went far beyond the walls of the church. She was instrumental in fostering a nurturing environment where families could thrive and individuals could find comfort. She was also known for her role in raising their 4 children, teaching them the values of faith, service, and love. Her presence was a central force within the Evans family and the Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, making her untimely death in 2019 from cancer a devastating blow to Pastor Tony, his family, and the church community. The second chapter, Pastor Tony Evans' marriage to Carla Crummy. In the wake of Lois Evans' death, Pastor Tony Evans faced the difficult decision of whether to remarry. His grief was still raw, and many members of his congregation felt that the loss of Lois was still too fresh for Tony to move on so quickly. However, in time, he found love again in the person of Carla Crummy, a woman with a heart for service and an admirable track record of work in education and community service. Before her marriage to Pastor Tony Evans, Carla was widely respected for her work as a teacher and for promoting values of kindness and empathy in her community. She was well known for her role as a kindness ambassador, advocating for love, understanding, and respect among people of all ages. Her calm demeanor and passion for teaching made her a beloved figure in her own right. When Pastor Tony Evans married Carla, The news was met with mixed reactions. Some members of the Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship embraced Carla with open arms, seeing her as a new chapter in Tony's life after the loss of Lois. Others, however, were more skeptical. The speed at which Tony had remarried raised concerns, with some questioning whether the new relationship was rushed and whether it had been going on behind the scenes longer than the public knew. The dark cloud. Pastor Tony Evans' shocking resignation. In a surprising turn of events, Pastor Tony Evans made an announcement that would shake his congregation and the wider Christian community. While conducting a service, he unexpectedly declared his resignation as the pastor of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, a church he had built from the ground up and led for decades. This announcement took everyone by surprise, as Pastor Evans had been a steady and reliable figure in the church for many years. His resignation left many with questions. Why would someone so dedicated to their ministry step down so suddenly? Was this decision related to any past wrongdoing or unresolved issues? Pastor Evans hinted at an error in his past, but offered no further explanation, leaving the congregation to wonder about the nature of the mistake. The timing of his resignation, coupled with the recent marriage to Carla, sparked a wave of speculation. Some members of the congregation wondered if his decision to step down had anything to do with his new relationship or with the accusations that had been swirling around their union. Others questioned whether the resignation was an attempt to avoid further scrutiny, as Pastor Evans had always been a man who lived by a high moral standard. Lingering questions. The nature of Pastor Tony Evans' mistake. As Pastor Tony Evans alluded to a past error, he left the details deliberately vague. His refusal to provide clarity led to a flurry of speculation, with many wondering what the mistake could be. Could it be related to his marriage to Carla? Was there something more to their relationship that had been kept secret? Or did the mistake involve other aspects of his life and ministry that had not yet been revealed? Some members of the congregation speculated that Pastor Evans' error might have been linked to his marriage to Carla. The speed of their relationship and the rumors that had circulated about their past before marriage created a cloud of suspicion. Others believed the mistake was related to something in Tony's past, possibly connected to his long ministry or his personal life before meeting Lois. The impact on Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship. The resignation of Pastor Tony Evans sent ripples throughout Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship. As a prominent leader who had shaped the church into a thriving spiritual community, his departure created a significant void. The congregation had grown accustomed to his leadership, and many wondered how they would move forward without his steady presence. The church had flourished under Pastor Evans's leadership, becoming a place of refuge for many seeking to strengthen their faith. Tony's powerful preaching, deep biblical insights, and compassionate leadership had helped thousands of individuals grow spiritually. Now, with his resignation, the question arose, who would lead the congregation? Would Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship remain the vibrant church it had become, or would it face a period of uncertainty? Carla Evans' role in the future of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship. As the dust settled from Pastor Tony Evans' resignation, attention turned to Carla Evans. The public had long speculated about her role in Tony's life and ministry, and now, with his resignation, many wondered whether she would take on a more prominent position in the church. Carla, while already a respected figure for her work in education and kindness, had largely stayed in the background during Tony's tenure as pastor. However, her presence had become more noticeable since their marriage, and now some were calling for her to take a more active role in the future of the church. Would Carla step into the leadership void left by Tony's departure? Her experience as a teacher and her deep faith made her a natural candidate for a more active role, but many church members were uncertain. Some were hesitant, unsure whether her involvement would be seen as a continuation of Tony's leadership or as a potential distraction in the wake of his resignation. Others believed that Carla's compassion and dedication could bring a fresh perspective to the church and help it navigate through these turbulent times. Speculation and public reactions. The growing scrutiny. As Pastor Tony Evans' resignation and the subsequent rumors continued to circulate, the public reaction grew more intense. Christian media outlets, as well as secular news sources, picked up the story, further fueling speculation about the reasons behind his departure. Some commentators praised Pastor Evans for his transparency in acknowledging his past mistakes, even without providing full details. Others, however, criticized him for not being more forthcoming, arguing that the vagueness only contributed to the confusion and uncertainty surrounding the situation. The public's interest in Tony's resignation was only heightened by the mystery of the mistake he had referenced, leaving many to wonder about the true nature of the situation. As the weeks went on, rumors continued to spread, with some believing that Tony's resignation was the result of a personal scandal, while others argued that it was a decision driven by spiritual growth or a desire for rest. The lack of clarity on the specifics of his resignation made it difficult for people to form a clear understanding of the situation, and the uncertainty continued to fuel speculation. The road ahead. Can Pastor Tony Evans recover? As Pastor Tony Evans navigates the fallout from his resignation, one of the biggest questions remains. Can he recover from this public setback? Tony has built a reputation over the years as a man of integrity, deeply committed to his faith and to guiding others toward a closer relationship with God. Yet, with the recent controversies surrounding his resignation and the ambiguity surrounding the mistake he referenced, his reputation has been put to the test. While Pastor Tony Evans has a long history of resilience and faith, the challenges he now faces could reshape his public ministry. Recovery for someone in his position requires not only healing from any personal missteps, but also rebuilding trust with his congregation and the broader Christian community. The uncertainty surrounding his resignation could lead some to question his leadership, while others may rally behind him, offering support as he works through this difficult season. In the coming months and years, Pastor Evans's ability to regain his standing in the faith community will depend on how transparently he addresses the issues at hand, and how he continues to model the humility and wisdom that initially earned him respect. If he chooses to openly confront the mistakes of his past, it could provide a path to healing, not just for himself, but for those who have looked up to him as a spiritual leader. Conversely, if he remains silent about the details, the mystery could continue to cloud his legacy and hinder his efforts to restore his reputation. A new chapter for Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship? As for Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, the resignation of Pastor Evans has forced the church to reconsider its future. While Pastor Evans built the church and established a strong foundation of faith, leadership transitions are common, and the congregation must now decide how best to move forward. The church could either elect a new leader from within the congregation or look outside to find someone who embodies the same passion and vision that Pastor Evans held. One possibility is that Carla Evans could play a larger role in the leadership of the church, though this would likely come with its own set of challenges. While she has the potential to offer a fresh perspective and carry forward the church's mission, the congregation may still be divided over the issue of her involvement, especially given the controversy surrounding her marriage to Pastor Evans. Time will tell whether she can successfully step into a leadership position or if the church will need to find a new senior pastor. Whatever the outcome, Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship must decide how to honor the legacy of Pastor Evans while forging its own path forward. The strength of the congregation lies not only in its leadership, but in its community of believers. In times of uncertainty, it is often the collective spirit of the church family that holds everything together, providing support and strength for the difficult transitions ahead. The bigger picture: redemption and grace. At the heart of Pastor Tony Evans' story lies a profound message about grace, redemption, and the power of faith. While the details of his resignation and past mistake remain unclear, one thing remains certain. His ministry has touched the lives of countless individuals over the years. His teachings have inspired generations of Christians to live out their faith with integrity, purpose, and love. For Pastor Evans, this season of difficulty may ultimately become a testimony to the very message he has preached his entire life, the transformative power of God's grace. Just as he has encouraged others to confess their sins and seek redemption, this chapter of his life presents an opportunity for him to experience the same healing and renewal he has so often proclaimed. A story still unfolding. The story of Pastor Tony Evans is far from over. His resignation, the speculation surrounding his marriage, and the unanswered questions about his past mistake have sparked intense public interest and raised doubts among some of his followers. However, his legacy of faith, leadership, and dedication to the gospel remains undeniable. As he navigates this difficult season, Pastor Evans has an opportunity to show the world what it truly means to experience grace and redemption. Whether he chooses to address the details of his resignation or moves forward in silence, his next steps will be crucial in determining how he is remembered and how his ministry will continue to impact others. For Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, the next chapter will require prayer, discernment, and unity as the congregation seeks to understand its future direction. The church's success will depend not only on the new leadership that emerges, but on the faith and strength of the members who have supported Pastor Evans through the years. At the end of the day, Pastor Tony Evans' story serves as a reminder that even the most faithful leaders are not immune to struggles, and that true faith is not about perfection, but about perseverance, humility, and the unyielding grace of God. As this story continues to unfold, many will be watching, praying, and hoping for a future filled with redemption, healing, and renewed purpose.